Regular meeting, September 9th, 2021. Erin, will you please conduct roll call?
Amy O'Brien.
Here.
Mary Collins. Here. Linda Gavra.
Here.
Lynn Lockwood.
Here.
Christine Webb. Here.
We have a quorum. I call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. .3 public comment.
Right now, I'm having this one to speak.
2.1 Superintendent's report.
We have Maggie Gilroy, our PR person here tonight, and she has been running around taking pictures all day of the first day of school. And she's put together a presentation. So Maggie, we'll give you the floor.
Yeah, for the first day, I just ran around to all three buildings and took pictures of the kids as they were doing different things. And so I put together a video of the first day. So Karen could play that. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Maggie. The two issues I'd like to bring up, one is the pay for our cooks in the cafeteria. At this point, we've had our couple of cooks leave because the salary was low and they were able to find more elsewhere. At this stage of the game, they are making something, I think it's about $14.15 an hour, and they can go to McDonald's and make 15, and it's very, very difficult to compete. So I've talked to BOCES, and BOCES is encouraging us to increase the rate. And what I would like to suggest at this point, in order to be, first of all, competitive, and secondly, once we get somebody, to be able to keep them, that we look at a range of between 16 and 17, depending on experience. And if the board would give me that approval, then we'll begin advertising at that rate. Jill's been interviewing all summer, and just has not been able to find it. Right now, we have a couple of the people off of the line that she's working with, trying to keep them together, but that presents obviously other problems, and they don't really want to cook. They're just doing it to help us out. So we really need to move on this and see if we can't get the proper people in the cafeteria. That's number one. Number two is substitutes for nurses. In talking with the nurses, what I'm finding is that we're not able to get substitutes because our rate is so low. And as a consequence, they have not been taking much time at all off. They have doctor's appointments and sick kids just like everybody else. And they'll try and cover for each other, but that presents coverage problems from wherever that person is covering is missing, and people are going back and forth between the buildings. So that's presenting a problem. We're finding out what other districts are in the midst of finding out what other districts are doing right now. Other districts are, there's a neighboring district of ours next to us is paying $23.45 right now, and we're paying about $16.67. So we're significantly below those. What I'm looking at is rate of 22 to start there, and then see if we need to get anybody for that. If we can't, then I'll be back to you and we'll be looking for something different. Again, if you give me the approval to do that, then we'll begin posting.
I'm okay with it.
I'm good. I'll make the motion.
Yeah, I have zero problem with that. That's
Absolutely not.
something we absolutely need, so long overdue probably,
I
to
would
be
agree.
honest with you.
That's way too low.
Yeah.
The nurse, that's way too low. Lynn? Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Principal's reports.
Okay, 2.2, principal's report.
Good evening, I'm gonna start us off. Stacey, I'm stepping in for Catherine, couldn't be here. So, first of all, I just want to let you know that today we welcome back, all our pre-K through 5 students, about 600 of them. 104 of them were kindergartners, which I think is amazing because that's our biggest cohort of kindergartners that we've had in a long time. So it was really nice to welcome all those new kiddos. Went really well and everyone seemed really happy with how the day went. So, the other piece I'd like to share with you is about our SWAP program, which is through Binghamton University, and it stands for Substitutes with a Purpose. So the schools hire teaching candidates as substitutes and will identify cooperating teachers who are going to work with those teaching candidates for 2 days a week. But they're actually, and that's for 2 full semesters with those same teachers and same students. And in the agreement that we have with BU, they actually work in our building for 4 days. 2 of them are with a cooperating teacher and 2 of them are substituting wherever we need throughout the building. And this year we have 1 candidate. In the past, we've had multiple, and it's been a really successful program. So I also brought for you just some more information on it from BU.
Internship too, when you're paid from the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, and they get paid as a substitute.
yeah, they get paid through
Through us.
you, if I remember correctly, right? Or do you guys pay the substitute? fee?
No, we just say, I believe we only pay the substitute fee.
Thank you.
That was it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so move up to the middle school
Oh,
next.
yeah, there's-
So today, we welcome 289 of our 292 students back into the building. There's a lot of excitement and it was awesome to have all of our students finally back all together again. Just a couple things that happened in the middle school over the last week that I just want to highlight with everybody is last Wednesday and Thursday, we did put out an option for our 6th grade families and any of our 7th grade families that were full remote last year to come into the building in small groups with one family member, just so they could walk around together and be welcome to our building, check out their locker, and, you know, navigate their paths between classes prior to open house. So we held open house on Tuesday night, and that was for students only. And we actually got a really great turnout. I was surprised. I was a little nervous about that with students only, but we had 238 of our 292 students showed up for open house Tuesday night by themselves. So that was great. And then, sorry, last week, we had 75 we had 105 students eligible to come in last week and 75 did show up. So that was nice. All right. Last thing I want to talk to you guys about, and I just made copies for the board because the rest of us already have seen this copy. Yep. So we have been discussing and trying to come up with a way to maybe spice up our campus a little bit. You know, it's the center of our community and maybe add a little bit more Forks pride to the outdoors. Okay, so we came up with this idea of looking to get some banners for all of our light poles around the campus. So from CFE over to the middle school and high school, and some for around our stadium field. So that when you came onto our driveways, you saw CF Forks Nation, and that's what the banners would look like. So they're 2 foot by 3 foot. Okay, and it comes with all the attachments that we need for the poles. We just have to install them. With that said, obviously it comes with a cost. So we were thinking of an idea of putting this out to any clubs, sports teams, families, alumni, faculty and staff, community members, if they wanted to sponsor a banner. And then we would create like a donation plaque that we would house in the district and display for anybody that donated.
And we want 60 of them.
60, and that gives us a couple extra. Yep, I think there's 56 poles if we counted correctly, but we'll give or take a few. So we were looking at maybe 60.
What's your timeline, Drew?
Well, the company has, they were willing to make the proof for us already, which was awesome. And they've worked with us really well. I mean, the cost here actually started initially double the cost. And then with the numbers going up and they've worked with us and got it down to half the cost. So that's nice. So once we were thinking of putting this out, if everybody is, you know, on board with it and starting to get the donations. And then once we feel like we have enough funds to move forward, the company said they would start printing the banners for us.
Great idea.
Love it.
Would the sponsor's name be on the banner just to?
We talked about that, but the cost really goes up because they have to make a new
Individual
proof for every
sponsor.
sponsor. So that's why we came up with the idea that
with a-
the district could sponsor a plaque and get little plaques with everybody's name or group that sponsors one.
Thank you.
I think it's great that it goes from CFE all the way up. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think we counted the ones on the playground up there.
Yep.
Any
Yeah,
light
all the
pole,
light poles.
we think. So maybe we'll get a few
Everywhere
extra.
on campus.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
What if you have overwhelming response and you get a lot more money than you need? What do you have plans?
Well, we would probably just, we're going to put it out that, you know, first come, first serve of 60 or 65. If we think we're going to count again. And then we would probably just have to stop because I don't know what else we could do with the money right now. And we can't just collect donations for nothing. So.
What that would tell you, Drew, is that there's interest in this kind of a project in the community, and I'm sure that there are other things that,
Right.
you know, to increase the school spirit
Yeah.
you could put around it would.
Would we create, for lack of a better term, a school spirit fund? Where it's a named fund specifically for use of this so that if it goes over, you know, the next spirit project comes from that.
Would
What do
that
you
be
think, Mark?
a Custom agency kind of thing?
Could be, but I have to check that out.
Yeah, what we could do is talk with our accountants to make sure we're doing everything
Right.
according to Hoyle, not breaking any rules. But yeah, the idea of a locked box just for that particular purpose. Yeah, I think that would be possible.
So if that would work, that would be great, because I know we've talked about some other like Blue Devil or CF decals for the front of our buildings. For instance, I'll just speak for this side of campus. Steve and I were talking over the summer, you come on, we have a little placard, you know, down the road, and then you really just have to kind of search for middle school and high school. We don't really have a, you know, CF or Blue Devils or anything like that. So that could be another option here. So that's why we asked for checks too, though. So if we did reach our max, then we knew who to send the money back to. So.
Very good.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Great idea.
Great. Steve Tronics, high school principal. Incredible start to the school year. Really from faculty, staff, everybody involved. The conference days, I mean, today was a tremendous day. The buzz around the school was awesome. And it wasn't just because of the new high school principal. I will say that everybody was just excited to be here. All right. So one awesome aspect though was that got here this morning and we had upperclassmen out in the student parking lot and they were tailgating out there. I mean, just I went out there and I was hanging out with them and they were playing cornhole. I was tempted to get them, but I didn't. But the kids were just having a blast listening to music and really helping set the tone. We had some other students that came out and they were doing sidewalk chalk, just inspirational messages, taking plastic forks and decorating out in front and everything like that. I mean, to me, that just speaks volumes about the students and what they're hoping to, you know, have the school year be. To piggyback on what Drew was saying in terms of before even getting into the school, open it up for a parent and student, especially over the ninth graders, right, in the transition to the high school, similarly to what they did in the middle school, to help alleviate some of those stressors and anxieties. We did have a couple dozen students and parents that would come in and did take advantage of that, which was great. On top of that, we did have freshman orientation. It was student only. I think we were sitting right around 70% of the ninth graders did show up for that. It was a great night. We set the expectations and the standards for the school year. We said exactly what we needed to get them ready for the start of the school year. And I think that helped out with how well things went today and how fluidly things went today. So that was good. Lastly, I just have to do a little plug for my math department. Through their diligence this summer, working with Dan Palmer, who's also an adjunct professor at BCC on our staff here, as well as Katie Holden, who's the math department chair. We all work together with University of Albany, so SUNY Albany, and bringing on a soon-to-be college credit-bearing math course. So we did have college algebra. It was actually a misnomer because there was no college credit attached to it. We're bringing on finite math. So now we're hoping this will help entice some of our upperclassmen to stay within the math department. So that way they can build on their credits to only, you know, benefit them further in college. So that's what we got going on at the high school.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great day, guys. I have to say, I'm walking around the district this morning. I've been doing this quite a while. And this is one of the first years I can remember where in the elementary, Lori was down there too. Maybe she heard something, but there were no criers.
Really?
I mean,
We had a few.
So we can't say there's none.
I'm not talking about the teachers. That's I don't-
had to.
Yeah, only till it wasn't till the very end, so I call it a win.
I do have to say too, the bus rides have the best donuts.
Very
2.3 board report, just one item. We'd like to acknowledge that we received 2 emails regarding the basketball program and 1 regarding reentry. They have been read and received. 4.1, discussion regarding Bernie bus contract.
Bernie bus contract, I'm just trying to set the table a little bit. The Bernie bus contract is going to be up at the end of June of this year, 2022. And we've got, you as any Board of Education has when something like that occurs, you've got a couple of choices. You can re-up with them if you're happy with the group that you're with, because it is a service contract. You can go out with a request for proposals to see if there's anyone else interested. Or you could subsume the transportation back into the school district, and I would strongly advise you not to do that. You've already done the heavy work and heavy lifting of divesting yourself of all of that, and to bring it back in would be very expensive, very cumbersome at this point in time. So that leaves you with two options. One is to re-up or to go out for a request for proposals. And I will tell you at this stage of the game, Bernie Bus has been quite responsive, at least since I have been here. I don't know what's transpired before, but they have come in and they have gotten rid of a terminal manager that we weren't particularly happy with, and they've got a new one coming in. They've made our hub the center for the area, and the area supervisor's office is there, and he was there today. When I went up there, he had been in there and his sleeves were rolled up and he was working too. We're not in great shape, but we're not in bad shape either in terms of drivers. We're down 2 at this stage of the game. When I talked to Bernie Bernie McDermott, and a lot of the districts around here are down far more than that. So while it's difficult, we're better off than a lot. They've worked hard to try and find people. The other concern I would have is that if you went out with a request for proposals at this particular point in time, and you decided that you wanted to make a change, that change is a bumpy change to make. And right now you're going to have a brand new superintendent, and you're going to have a brand new coordinator of transportation, both of whom are going to be learning the district, learning the job. And to add that along with everything else that's going on, with, you know, the whole COVID deal, and just the uncertainty. What the district needs now, in my estimation, is consistency and continuity, as much as we can get for the next couple of years, to allow people to get their feet under them and to learn the things they need to learn, and then to come to you with a decision as to whether or not they want to go out with a request for proposal, or whether you want to continue with Bernie, either one. It makes no difference to me, because in 2 months, I'm going to be under my apple tree having all the bats. So whatever you decide to do, that's good, but that would be my thought. And I'll come back to you next month and we'll get a little more serious about it at that point. But this just gives you an opportunity to think about it without having to make a quick decision.
Thank you. 1.2. Upon recommendation of the superintendent, a motion to approve the recommendations of the Committee on Preschool Special Education and Special Education, and be it resolved that the Board of Education confirms the recommended placements. A motion, please. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Mary. Discussion. Roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Michael Vavra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
And Christine Webb.
Motion passed. 4.3, a motion to change the regular Board of Education meeting scheduled for November 11th, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, pull out your calendars.
What day are we changing?
We, well, that's what we have to figure out. So it's the 11th, there's no school. So we don't want to be here either.
No.
We could do. Could we do 7th? Would that make sense? The third.
7th of this month. Or
Are
Sunday.
you looking at
Oh my
November?
gosh. Wrong
Yeah.
month. Thank you. All right. So we go, want to go one day before?
Yeah.
That's fine.
That'll be-
Good. Yeah,
That works for me.
you gotta be kidding.
I
That was
know,
too
I
easy.
know, I
What
know.
is that?
That doesn't happen.
Sorry, Mark, it usually does it.
Thank you. All right, excellent. Okay, so that was our discussion. Roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Michael Vavra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
And Christine Webb.
Hi.
Motion passed. The November board meeting will be on the 10th. Right, 4.4. On approval of the superintendent, a motion to approve the high school art field trip to New York City as attached.
Motion.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Discussion.
A couple of quick things. I know in New York, if they're gonna be eating out, are they gonna be required to have the vaccine in New York? I know New York is requiring the
And this
vaccine.
trip's not till June, so I
So
mean,
we could hopefully,
everything's in flux.
so do we put any caveats under that? Or,
What I would do is, at this stage of the game,
I mean, I'm all for it. It's my, I love it. I
but
just,
I suspect that what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to abide by whatever regulations we're going into. If they're going into New York and they've got some additional regulation, we're gonna have to deal with that, whatever that happens to be, I think, automatically. I don't, that's. We have to do that. And that might shake some kids out, I don't know,
right,
depending on the situation.
okay.
Approving it now won't change.
No, I
you know,
do,
so
I know,
it's-
that's not.
Yeah, it's no harm to do that. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Michael Vavra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
Christine Webb.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay. On recommendation of the superintendent, a motion to approve 5.2 through 5.10. Can I have a motion? 5. Because they already did that discussion. I mean, we can go back over it.
She
already
is
talked
telling
about
Oh,
it.
it's just, you don't have to approve, okay,
No.
I got you.
Yep, no
Yep.
problem.
Motion.
Thank you, Mike.
One.
May I have a second?
Second.
So we can discuss. Thank you, Mary. Discussion. 5.2 through 5.10, roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Michael Vavra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
Christine Webb.
I have to abstain from 5.3.
Okay, so,
I am, on the record, I know this person as a student and I was on her recommendation list.
okay, so what we'll do.
As a former student, she was a student prior in my class and she used me as a reference.
Okay, so we'll pull 5.3 out and do that separately.
Thank you, sorry.
Not a problem. So it's, an motion to approve 5.2 and 5.4 through 5.10. We'll do this one more time. Okay. All right, I'm sorry, motion second's fine, so we'll do roll call and the new numbers.
So I think we can for 5.10. Okay.
Because we
So Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Michael Vavra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
And Christine Webb.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, 5.3. Upon recommendation of the superintendent, a motion to approve the following appointment retroactive to September 7th, 2021. Name of appointee, Nikista Langton. Position, long-term substitute first grade. Date of commencement of service, September 7, 2021. Date of end of service, June 30, 2021. 2022.
Two.
Thank you. And salary per CFTA contract. Have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Mary.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Discussion.
You already know.
All right, roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Michael Vavra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
And Christine Webb.
Abstain.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to go into a brief executive session. I know, of my subject matter. To discuss particular personnel, and I would like to invite Dave Hogan to join us. I may have a motion.
Motion.
Thank you, Christine.
Second.
Thank you, Len. Discussion. Roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Michael Vavra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
Christine Webb.
Aye.
Motion passed. We will return. Okay. 5.11, upon recommendation of the superintendent, a motion to approve the winter coaches as attached.
Motion.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Thank you, Christine. Discussion? Roll call.
Amy O'Brien,
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Mike Fabra,
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood,
Aye.
and Christine Webb.
Aye.
Motion passed. 6.1, district credit card is an FYI. 6.2, upon approval of the superintendent, a motion to dispose of the attached items that have little or no market value due to damage and or obsolescence and therefore declared surplus. Can we have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Lynn.
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Discussion? I mentioned this a few years ago, and I wonder if we could revisit the possibility of the items that we no longer need, somehow giving back to the community. Whether it's, I don't know how, I don't know the logistics, how that would look.
A couple of things that I've seen in various districts. One is just a full-out auction, but you don't tend to, that's expensive because you have to get an auctioneer. The other thing you can do is just to have a place where the stuff is displayed, and then people can offer a sealed bid for it. So I see a desk that I like, I'll give you $3 for the desk, and somebody comes in and says, I'll give you $250, you put it in an envelope, and at some point you open up the envelopes and you just call people that wanted their stuff. You don't make a lot of money, but it winds up staying in the community for the taxpayers who paid for it in the first place.
Right.
So that's an option too.
What if we do something like on the website where it's just a different
Yeah.
section where,
Yeah.
Garage.
disposable,
Well,
right, almost like a community garage or whatever. People
Yeah.
can click on it
Yeah, I
and
would
like
love
do what
that.
he says. Yeah.
That's exactly
You just open it
what
up for a
I'm
couple of days so people can come in and kick the tires on what it is they're looking for, and then they can
Yep.
bid on, like, yeah, that would work.
Who would man that?
What is this scrap hardware? What is-
I went to
Just scrap metal. I mean, it could be
the
anything.
scrap metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a person that comes in and picks up. Problem is, by the time we get done with it, it's beat the.
Beat the heck, yeah.
It's
Right.
not worth much, and most of it is old.
Well, I can say as you see, we didn't get much from Whitesmith. So.
Yeah.
So,
Well, lots of times it is just this,
Right.
but other times it's neat stuff and people are into like
Mhm.
Pinterest and upcycling. And I say, I look at some of it and think, oh, I can do blah, blah, blah with. And I'm sure other people think that way too. And that, again, their tax dollars are coming in.
You could
How
have
nice
it
would that
available
be?
when people come. I wouldn't want to sell it to anybody because that stuff is just, it's not.
So we wouldn't sell it?
some things. I think what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you may sell some of
All
it,
right,
but
go
some,
ahead.
if you take a look at some, it's just so beaten up that it's
Mhm.
just not. You know, you get something that's been under some kid's desk or under their bed for 2 months.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty dusty.
Um,
But yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That'd
the
be
point
nice
is
to
to
do.
give the community as much of an opportunity as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, even if we like do like a donation, like with the iPads, like those can go to like a retirement home. And maybe the kids in the tech center can clean them and get them ready to go, even if it's for basic stuff or something.
I love the idea, but just for me, I'd like to keep it in the district.
In the district.
That's just my opinion, just because those are the
I don't think
dollars
we
that
have an old people's home.
brought it here. I'm one person. You guys chime in.
No, I agree.
No, I like the idea.
I agree. In-house.
Mhm. Okay, all right, roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Mike Fabra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
and Christine Webb.
Motion passed. 6.3, upon recommendation of the superintendent, a motion to approve the attached bids. Have a motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
Mike Fabra.
Aye.
and Christine Webb.
Aye.
Motion passed. 7.1. Motion for consideration of executive session to discuss personnel.
Motion.
Thank you, Lynn.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Discussion. Are we going to be taking any action when we return?
No.
Okay. All right, so you are free to stay to the close of the meeting, but we will not be taking any further action this evening. Roll call.
Amy O'Brien.
Aye.
Mary Collins.
Aye.
Mike Fabra.
Aye.
Lynn Lockwood.
Aye.
and Christine Webb.
Motion passed. To those who are leaving, have a good night.